And how you were created is exactly how the creator wants you to be. I've reached more people in 1 year than I did in the entire 20 years before that. And for that 1 year, my mindset was, it's not about how much time you put in your career. It's about opening up those gates so the energy can finally flow. It's like arteries that are blocked for people.
What's one spiritual law you think people violate daily?
People don't realize, myself included, how many limited beliefs we have that are causing us not to have fulfillment. Like you're meant for something so great. And this was one of the most powerful moments of my life. The easiest path to miracles is to be so conscious of what you're saying. First, make yourself complete inside of yourself. Then all those things around you, the right things, will come to you in the right way at the right time. My soul came to this world to become like the creator. That's the only reason I'm here. And then I realized something. The secret to life is
David, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You feel there are universal spiritual laws, much like there are physical ones, yes?
That is correct.
Could you set the stage for that a bit?
When I was 15, I was exposed to this idea that there must be spiritual laws adjacent to the physical laws that we all believe in, like gravity, or a person needs oxygen to survive. So what does the soul need in order to connect to a realm of miracles? Or what are the spiritual laws of finding your soulmate? Or spiritual laws of activating healing in an upper realm that then translates to finding the right doctor or the right diet or the right medicine in the lower world. And so I was really fascinated by that. And that's how I found Kabbalah. And that just opened up a whole new world for me. And it was actually very scientific because you learn how to apply these spiritual laws. And then you see results in the physical world manifest so beautifully. And so that's been my life's work the last 25 years.
It seems like early on in the personal development scene, you're kind of encouraged to learn the strategies to go out and get what you want in life, and really see what you want in life, which I think has a beautiful purpose. And then there's the switch to seeing what life wants of you. And I'm curious how you kind of shifted the framework to viewing the light of the creator, which I've heard you reference, and by connecting to that source, sort of manifesting in life greater abundance, greater connection, greater relationships that are more aligned with your soul. So can you set the stage for what you think, like that, how you refer to that light of the creator?
Yeah, so the premise of this wisdom is fairly simple, that there is a source of energy that we call the creator, and what emanates from this creator is called the light. So it's the light of the creator. Within this light is all the sources of fulfillment. So when a person is looking for love, love is within this light. When a person is looking for a partnership or their soulmate, that is within this light. When a person is looking for abundance, prosperity, healing, peace of mind, certainty, whatever desire we have exists within this light. We have been created as souls, which are vessels, desires to receive this light. Our soul came to this world in order to connect with this light. We weren't born with this connection because part of our soul's journey is to earn that connection. If something is given to us for free, we don't actually appreciate it or understand it. So our soul severed from this light to come down to a physical world of darkness. And the challenges that we go through and all the different dynamics and relationships, which there's so much to speak about, are there to help us earn the light of the creator. The way you earn the light of the creator is by becoming like the creator. So the sages teach all the different qualities and ways to elevate your vibration to become like the creator. When you do that, your soul connects to this energy, and then the darkness in your life begins to disappear. So for example, if a person is single, they're wondering, how can they find a relationship? Where is their soulmate? How can they be successful in dating? All of these questions are answered very simply. When you bind your soul to the light of the creator, the darkness called being single will go away. Somehow you will be guided towards your true path with your soulmate, or at least with the person that you need to be, who will elevate you to another level to be with the next person that you'll be eventually with. So everything is all about, number one, I wake up in the morning, what do I need to transform about myself to become like the creator, to connect with that light? Then the light guides you into what else you need to do, what career path you need to take, where your healing is, where your soulmate is, so on and so forth.
When you say that it's the light of the creator, so to speak, which we could place any given name there, is something that we must earn.
Yeah.
And that we're not essentially born in it. It feels very counterintuitive with me in a way I almost don't agree with, because you see a child and you see inherent with them the light of the
Hmm.
creator. So it could be a semantic thing, but I'm curious what your thoughts are
So
on that.
it's actually a great point that you bring up. For example, the sages say that a child is inherently born with a connection to the light of the creator. What actually happens is as they grow up, and it happens around 12 for a girl and 13 for a boy, that light is actually diminished. It's concealed from them in a way that they now go out to reveal their own light. This is why every baby that's born, we love every baby that's born. We love every child that's born. They look cute, they're adorable, they're so innocent because they have that connection with the light force. But as time goes on, in the same way that we end up leaving our parents' home in order to find our true identity, the light is concealed from these children. And there's those tumultuous times as a teenager. That's when it starts to really happen, where each soul is to reconnect with the light, but from their own co-creation. So the way that happens is our soul comes to this world with baggage, spiritual baggage, what we call these tikkuns or soul corrections. So every fear that we have, every bit of anger or judgment, all the negativity that we have inside of us, our soul brought from a past life. And we need to see what those negativities are and then transform them. All the relationships that we have in our lives are often the first line of seeing what is inside of us. So people start awakening our negativity, our fears, but the purpose of that is so that we can see it, so that we can transform it in order to connect more strongly with the light of the creator.
How certain are you that the tikkun or spiritual baggage comes from previous lives and that we are sort of sent here with our personal karma to reconcile?
How certain am I?
Yeah.
That's the playbook that I have learned. And then everything that I have learned in this wisdom, I've approached with a healthy skepticism. Also, I've never been the person to just take what people tell me and believe it until I've tried it. So in the last 25 years, what I have learned has felt intuitive, has felt right, and then I've applied it in my own life. So especially in the most difficult of times, in the greatest of challenges, that's when you're tested to see if you really believe in this wisdom. I have been through some of the most difficult challenges in my life, and instead of reacting to them the way I probably normally would have, or just going out into the physical world looking for a solution, I instead said, you know what? I'm going to apply the spiritual principles as I've learned them, because it's easy to talk about when things are great. But when everything is disappearing and you're hitting rock bottom, that's when you really need to apply it. That's when you really know that you believe in it. And so when I have seen the greatest miracles in my life. I've seen literally darkness disappear overnight. And so I just keep learning, applying, and so far it's been working quite beautifully.
कार्टून जटिल विचारों को समझना आसान बना देते हैं और सिखाने व बेचने में बेहद असरदार होते हैं। लेकिन आपको ये बताने के बजाय कि टूनबी कितना शानदार है, क्यों ना मैं आपको दिखाई दूं। मान लीजिए हमें एक मधुमक्खी चाहिए जो गुरुत्वाकर्षण के नियम को समझा रही हो और बस 1 सेकंड में सब कुछ तैयार हो जाता है। मान लीजिए कि आपको किसी ऑनलाइन ऐप के लिए डिस्काउंट प्रोमो वीडियो चाहिए। बस इतना टाइप कर दीजिए और हमारी एआई आपके लिए सब संभाल लेगी। और याद रखिए, ये सिर्फ एनिमेशन नहीं है, ये एआई संचालित कहानी कहने का तरीका है। कार्टून वीडियो बनाना इससे पहले कभी इतना आसान नहीं था। अगर आप माउस क्लिक कर सकते हैं तो आप कुछ ही मिनटों में स्टूडियो क्वालिटी के कार्टून वीडियो बना सकते हैं। इस वीडियो में हर एनिमेशन टूनबी से ही बनाया गया है और आप अभी भी देख रहे हैं। ये साबित करता है कि कार्टून वीडियो कितने आकर्षक होते हैं। कार्टून वीडियो बेहतर तरीके से शिक्षा देते हैं, ज्यादा देर तक ध्यान खींचते हैं और तेजी से कन्वर्ट करते हैं, जिससे ये आपके बिजनेस के लिए सबसे समझदारी भरे निवेशों में से एक बन जाते हैं। तो बात ये है, अगर आप अभी toonbee.ai पर जाएं तो आप देखेंगे कि टूनबी एक मासिक सेवा के रूप में बेचा जाता है। लेकिन आज इसी पेज पर आपके पास एक अनोखा मौका है। हम टूनबी को एक बार की एक मुश्त भुगतान पर दे रहे हैं। हालांकि ये ऑफर सिर्फ 1000।
Yeah, I'm somebody who...
You have a healthy skepticism.
Yeah, I think in the search of truth, there's 1,000 different names we could apply to different ways that reality is unfolding and our relationship to it. I think I've had at times for sure an allergy to assumptions or dogmatic conclusions when it's outside of our own internal subjective experience. Lessons that we've learned externally that we then adopt, which might very well be a useful framework and perspective that actually helps us in our life. But in the search of truth that's more objective in the sense, I just come to question those things and what are the beliefs that I'm using to support me, that are useful, that aren't actually in my internal experience, for example, past lives or whatever.
Right.
So I'm curious in your distinction there, but yeah, there's the love for the philosophy of the different religious texts and the ancient wisdom traditions and what they say about this life. And it's cool to see the overlap and how they explain very similar things in different ways. What is your relationship between the understanding from the teachings externally from like Kabbalistic, Gnostic origins to the internal connection and understanding?
So, for example, one of the premises would be that obviously we know that when a person dies, the body is dematerializing. And if a person believes in the soul, so what happens to the soul? So the body is a vessel for the soul. The soul is a vessel for this energy of creation. Some people call it God. We're calling it the light of the creator. And this soul is immortal in many ways. This is what we believe. Now, the soul can fragment into many more souls. So, for example, if I left this world, then my soul could fragment into 4 more souls. And each one then comes back into the physical world with whatever spiritual baggage that original soul didn't fix. Also, what's really fascinating is that these 4 souls in many ways are considered soulmates. So soulmates isn't just that one person that you get to know, love, and potentially marry and be with. Soulmates could be friends, it can be family members, romantic relationships that are just there for a moment in time, or someone that you are living with for the rest of your life. But each one of these fragmented souls that are originally part of one soul come into your life to elevate you in some way or another, either by awakening some form of pain, because pain transforms us, or by inspiring us, by loving us, by creating a reality of safety for us that helps us grow also. Because most people either are growing through pain, mostly through pain, or through inspiration. Either way, every relationship is falling into one of those 2 categories. So, for example, if someone has a fear of abandonment, and they may think, well, they were born to divorced parents, and one of their parents were just not around, and so the child felt abandoned. The sages say that that soul already was coming into this world with that fear of abandonment, and that soul chose parents that it knew would be the best trigger to awaken those fears and to awaken those wounds. Because everything that hasn't been fixed desires to be fixed. Everything is trying to go to a place of completion, a place of wholeness, a place of oneness. Everything is being moved towards that direction. So how do you get to that place when you have this wound, this fear of abandonment that you've carried from past life? You're going to put yourself in situations that will be best to trigger it. And so this is one of the things that we teach, and people then start to understand not to blame their parents, but to realize that their soul chose to be in certain dynamics, knowing that was the most powerful way to elevate, to become their best selves.
You mentioned a couple times where you experienced a lot of internal darkness on your path, and then Kabbalah. Yeah. So could you take us back to when Kabbalah came into your life and the difficulties you were facing and how it became this source of inspiration for understanding your life better?
When I was 15 years old, I was in school. I did well in school, but I always wanted more. I craved more. Everything was kind of boring to me. So I actually went down a path of investing in the stock market, even though I shouldn't have done that as a teenager, and learning how to play poker and gambling. And that became all consuming for me, like 15 hours a day. I made a lot of money when I was a teenager. I think I made my first $1 million when I was 14 or 15. And all of that was because I was pursuing something greater. I wanted more, just didn't know where to channel my energy. When my uncle told me about spirituality and Kabbalah, I thought it was religion, so I didn't want that because I don't like the dogmatic part of that. But he said, no, go to a seminar, you'll see what it's like. I went to my first seminar. Everything made sense. Everything felt like cause and effect. And I said, I'm going to take a chance and just start applying. From that moment on, I saw that I was not the effect of life anymore. I was able, as a young teenager, to apply spiritual concepts and be able to manifest more miraculous realities in this physical world in any other way I was pursuing it. I then said, this is the most fulfilling thing to do. I graduated college early at 19, and I joined a nonprofit to bring this wisdom to the whole world. I didn't get paid for it, and all I did is travel the world giving live seminars. So I've given probably 2,000 live seminars, and then meeting people one-on-one and just helping them and guiding them, not being compensated for it. That was an incredible journey, and I learned a lot during that path. But as time went on, for example, when I got married at the age of 29, when we got married, we had no money. I obviously didn't have any money. She didn't have any money. And that began one of the most difficult periods of my life, because now I'm in the real world. Now I'm not this guy working for a nonprofit. Everything's taken care of for me. I'm just helping and giving. Now I have a wife. I have real bills. I never had a credit card. I never had credit. I never had a bank account to that moment. And then everything started to hit me. And then one challenge after another. 4 miscarriages when we were trying to have kids, 6 months behind in rent. And at the same time, I'm still teaching this wisdom. So to the world, I'm the guy that's bringing incredible wisdom, that helping other people have miracles. But then people are questioning, you in your own life, you're poor, you can't make your rent, you can't have a child. Like, I start to think to myself, does this really work? And for that 1 year, my mindset was, why is this happening to me? I dedicated my whole life to helping other people. And this was probably one of the most powerful moments of my life. I said, I've helped tens of thousands of people. I've given every hour of my time for charity. And I'm the one not seeing any miracles at this stage of my life. And then I realized something after a year, though. I said to myself, you know what? This wisdom either works or it doesn't. What would it mean for me if it worked? Everything I'm going through right now must be an opportunity to create miracles. So I realized that I needed to go through this experience to truly elevate my certainty and to see inside myself what was coming up, which was this feeling of being a victim. All of a sudden, when things don't go my way, I now question things and I'm a victim, and I'm feeling pity for myself. And I realized that was the transformation. I now have the opportunity to be unconditionally happy, as if I've already have everything in my life. I would live in New York City at the time. So I was walking down New York City and I was looking at all the buildings and I'm like, who's to say that I don't own everything? Who's to say that I'm not already a billionaire? Who's to say that I don't already have kids? So I just lost 4 children. Who's to say that that's even true? I started to change my consciousness around being the energy that I was trying to receive from the outside world. A week later is when we had an idea to create a vitamin, because Mary Ruth was in health and wellness, and she said, I want to create a product. And that was the idea, to create a liquid vitamin. That, I'm sure maybe you've seen or you know, that marked the beginning where we had no money, nothing, just an idea for a liquid vitamin that became the largest supplement brand in the nation today and the largest liquid vitamin brand in the world. I know that the idea, the inspiration, the miracle of that product came right after I shifted my mindset out of being a victim to what would the creator do right now? Shifting to that vibration is what shifted me to a realm of miracles. Right after that, then we had 4 children as well. So the miscarriage was 2 single children and twins that were miscarried. And then we had 2 single children and twins were physically born. I saw miracles like that over and over and over again. And for everybody watching, everyone's going through some kind of darkness or some kind of pain or challenge. They need to know that this is exactly what their soul designed for them to go through. And even though you do not see how you'll get out of it, you do not see where the miracle will come from, there is greater fulfillment than you could possibly imagine waiting for you on the other end of this. But the fulfillment is waiting for you to shift your consciousness out of being a victim to being of the vibration of the light of the creator.
Just like every single skill, even this skill will be commoditized. work on it right now and work with premium brands like this. Or else, 6 months from now, compete with 10,000 AI filmmakers. My name is Harry Ranveer, and without having a single person contact in this industry, I was able to work with multi-billion-dollar brands such as Birla Opus, Shriram Finances, Skoda, Cultfit, Sensodyne, and a lot more. Click on the link below, sign up for my upcoming AI film.
Thank you for sharing. That light of the creator, I've heard you refer to sort of as a prism, like the light, white light going through a prism. So can you share a bit of the context of how you think by aligning with the energy of nature, in essence, which we can give names to all of these, the light of the creator, God, universal consciousness, nature, like, I think it's important not to get caught up in the semantics here because we could go back and forth all day on those. But by attuning ourselves to that energy, what becomes available in all the other areas of life, if you could set the stage for.
Can you give me examples, as you're talking about, for example, nature? Give me more perspective on what you feel and what you know other people feel about this so I can help bridge the gap.
We've had many different conversations exploring Rosicrucianism, from panpsychists, and understanding consciousness being the binding force, fundamental nature within the universe. I would say that the majority.
What does that mean? So let's say, because I believe in what you're saying, and I think it's the same. Can you explain that consciousness being the binding force?
The typical reductionist materialist notion of consciousness is that our brain produces it. And
you believe this?
No, I don't. I don't know fully. I'm convinced increasingly more and more that consciousness is a fundamental constituent of the universe.
What do you believe?
That's what I feel.
Oh, wait, okay. So if you believe that consciousness doesn't exist, what do you believe exists?
I believe that consciousness is fundamental. If I were to say, instead of the brain creating it from unconscious complexity of neuronal structure, it is a more fundamental constituent of the universe that is ultimately the same weaving tapestry that connects us all. So that we, in essence, would share the same consciousness from its source, you, myself, everybody in this room, but we're taking the costume of an individual separate self to be able to kind of play and have the illusion of separation that gives us like the ability to play this game.
And what is the source of the consciousness?
The source of the consciousness? I don't know if I would put a name to it. It's nameless.
How did it begin?
I don't know.
Because I'm very curious, because what I've often seen is that we'll be having a conversation and actually we're saying the same exact thing in different words and different costumes. And so I am curious because what you're saying actually does sound on the deepest levels of this wisdom to be accurate, because this consciousness is the sages would say is a desire, is a vessel, because it holds something, it holds energy. We do believe that it has energy, so it must be some kind of receptacle for this energy. And we are taking, from what you're saying, we're kind of taking the way a stone hewn from a mountain becomes its own stone, even though it's part of the mountain. Are you saying that we're taking from this consciousness and putting a costume on it, which is our individual self?
What I intuitively feel is true is that we are an individual expression of one eternal consciousness.
This is exactly what the sages would say as well. So your intuition is correct.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Well, this one consciousness. So, okay, so then what do you do with that one consciousness? What is now the purpose of life?
To know yourself is what I feel, and why I originally started this conversation, this podcast, to have conversations that help people support that connection with themselves, whatever the name they want to apply to it. Not just because of the results that it'll bear in our life, which we can get to, and the relationships and business and everything, but what becomes available once you actually have that internal connection to something greater than your own thoughts and emotions, which we're addicted and compulsive to. It's just such a joy is available to us from that space. So to go back to the prism analogy, by getting in touch with the source of that energy, what becomes available?
So the prism analogy is, if I refract the white physical light through a prism, I have all the colors of the rainbow. If I refract this source of energy called the light of the creator through a spiritual prism, I get all of the types of fulfillment that we're seeking So it all exists within this one light. So if I'm looking for love, the way you find love is go straight to the source, which is the light. If you're looking for prosperity, instead of just going out there and saying, well, what's my purpose? What business should I start? What product should I start? People come to me all the time and they say, well, I want to start a company. What product do you think would sell best in the market? I say to them, look, it's not about the product that's going to sell best or not, because one person could sell that product and be very successful. Someone else could sell that product and it would fail. Why? Because the person who is successful selling that product, they've already connected their soul to the source of prosperity. So whatever they do after that, they will be guided to find the right employees, to find the right marketing, to find the right designs. And we've seen very successful people, no matter where you put them, they're successful. Like the wealthiest people I know, I could put them in any environment. I could strip them of their money, their network, whatever, plop them in some country, and in the next 2 years, they'll find a way to be a billionaire. Doesn't matter what industry even, because there's something on a soul level that they've already connected to prosperity. And then on the other hand, there's other people who maybe check every box in a relationship. They're good looking, they're intelligent, they're charismatic, they're so many things, but they can't find a partner. No matter what, they find, they date, they sabotage, something happens. It's because on a soul level, they haven't connected to that light, which that light includes love and relationship. So in everything that I'm imparting in this wisdom, it's people are spending so much time and energy chasing the colors when they could just tweak one thing, is chase the white light, chase the source. Then the colors will all come to you. And the problem is when you're chasing just the color, you're chasing a part, not the whole. And every time you chase a part of something, you're connected to the lack, you're connected to the fragmentation. Kind of like what you said, a person will see miracles when they can connect to that unified consciousness, not be a separate force. Really what I hear is when you act like the creator, you're acting with oneness. So what is the creator? The creator is a force of certainty, not doubt. So every time you inject certainty, when you're going through a difficult time, you're closer to the creator, you're closer to the light. Every time you speak badly about someone, you speak evil speech about them, you're fragmenting yourself. You're thinking this person is the enemy. Every time you shut your mouth and in fact you think of something positive about them, you're acting more like the creator. Now you're connected more to the light. Cancer cells start to die. You get closer to your soulmate. You get closer to your prosperity. It's that simple. So the things that cause fragmentation from this universal consciousness is really another way of saying, I'm fragmenting myself away from this life force. And so you will have more and more darkness in your life. That darkness will be so painful that it will push you and break your ego to change something about yourself. Because eventually, you see even people who become so wealthy, become so successful, and then they're so empty, and they have chaos in their lives. They can't even enjoy their wealth. Because just because you got money doesn't mean you're connected to the light of the creator. You tricked the system. You found a way to grab some wealth, but you're not happy because you didn't first start by binding your soul to the light of the creator through transforming your negativity.
It seems like there are perspectives that we hold, beliefs and assumptions about reality that separate us from being intimate with life, the source of the light. And there are positions, internal positions and perspectives that we can have that align us with that light. One of which you sort of mentioned was this like needing energy versus how you can position yourself to be attractive and magnetize that which is meant for you.
Yeah.
Now that could be seen through every lens, like we said, through business, finances, relationship, purpose, all of this. And so when you look at those two energies of needing from a place of lack versus attracting from a place of wholeness, how do you see that?
Great question. So the main spiritual law here is, can you desire everything but need nothing? And what does that mean? Going back to the simple universal law, which is become like the creator, and then you will see miracles. What do we know about the creator? The creator is a force of wholeness. There's nothing incomplete within this creator, within this force of energy. The premise is that the creator is whole and complete. I was born incomplete, desiring something, thinking that something from the outside would come make me complete. My spiritual work is to transform that awareness to a higher level, which is that of the creator, which is, I need to believe that I am whole and complete exactly as I am. Now, what happens is the moment you believe you're whole and complete, your desire doesn't go away. So for example, let's say a person wants to get married, person's single, they want to be in love. When they tell themselves that they're whole and complete and they really feel that inside of themselves, that doesn't change their desire to be with someone. In fact, what it does is it awakens a more powerful desire to receive a relationship, but not because they need it, not because they need to fill some wound or hole or some lack inside themselves. The sages have already given us this wisdom. You think of Moses and Jesus and Abraham and all the Eastern philosophies, it all was rooted in one source concept, which is elevate yourself to a place of wholeness and look at the areas in your life where you feel incomplete. Do not try to use the physical world to make yourself complete. First, make yourself complete inside of yourself. Then all those things around you, the right things, will come to you in the right way at the right time. You know, something else is coming to me. A lot of people find difficulty in relationships, and there are people right now who are probably facing betrayal. Like they just found out that someone is cheating on them or someone doesn't want to be with them. And 100% of the time, it means one thing. Instead of blaming the other person, instead of calling him or her a narcissist and, trying to validate all the reasons why they're bad and they're confused and they're lost and they have mental issues or whatever it is that most people do, take a pause and realize that everything is trying to show you where your own limitations are, where maybe you don't love yourself, where maybe you have self-worth issues, where maybe you don't believe that you do deserve love. Like there's so many things that are limited inside of us. This pain is happening to show you the limitation. If you spend the next 24 hours just writing down all the potential limitations you see, not ever discussing your ex, don't discuss that other person, and then ask yourself how you can grow to become more whole and complete in those things, this is the most powerful thing you can do to see miracles and the fastest way you're going to get to your next relationship or your soulmate. But if you spend months trashing your ex, telling your therapist and your friends how horrible they were and how victimized you were, you need to process the pain, no doubt. But if you put the blame on that person, you're just delaying your wedding date. You're just delaying all miracles, including wealth, because wealth and relationships are connected to the same channel of energy.
Hey there. One thing that brings me a lot of joy in the morning is having a warm, nourishing drink to start the day, but I personally don't drink anything with strong caffeine, and that's why I love Mud